This video demonstrates 5 different techniques to mic an acoustic guitar. Until the 1850s, there was no significant difference between the mandolin and the acoustic guitar. A man from Spain, Antonio Torres Oardo, took this invention and added his own attachments to the mandolin, creating a new sound, thus creating the modern-day acoustic guitar. The guitar is a string instrument which belongs to the chordophone family. The strings are usually made of steel or nylon. The tone of an acoustic guitar is produced by the vibration of the strings, which is amplified by the body of the guitar. The guitar used was a Greg Bennett Continental D8CE with a dreadnought cutaway body, a cedar top and rosewood back and sides. The neck is made of mahogany and the fingerboard of rosewood. The guitar was dropped by 2 semitones from the standard tuning, with the first and the 6th string dropped 4 semitones respectively. The room walls are made up of uneven basalt blocks, which act as diffusers. These irregular stones create a rigid random diffuse surface. Also, coir absorbers are placed around the room. The dimensions of the room in which the guitar was recorded are 13 by 7.5 by 8 feet. The instrument was positioned in the center of the room and along the length of the room at a distance of 3 feet from the longest wall, behind the instrument. This position of the guitar helped us capture the desired sound from it. The signal path comprised of the mic connected to the API 512C preamp, which was in turn connected to the Antelope Orion 32C analog to digital converter. The Orion connects to the computer via USB, and the audio was recorded onto Logic X. The audio was monitored over headphones when mics were being placed and when the guitar was being recorded. During playback, JBL 4208 monitors were used. The Mackie 1202 VLZ was used as a monitor mixer. The Audio-Technica 4050 has a fairly flat frequency response over the range of 20 Hz to 18 kHz, with the presence peak at 10 kHz. The Sonotronic Saturn is a large diaphragm condenser which also has a fairly flat frequency response over the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, with the presence peak at 8 kHz. The Octava MK012 cardioid pencil condenser has a fairly flat frequency response over the range of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, with the presence peak at 8 kHz. The approach to this miking technique is fairly simple. It is based on placing the mic at the region where the neck joins the body. This position is called the vanilla position. A fairly good balance of body and panel resonances were obtained using an Audio-Technica 4050 microphone with its polar pattern set to cardioid and placed 8 inches away from the 14th fret and angled towards the body. One of the most important things to consider with this technique is the issue of phase cancellations, which can be brought to a minimum using the 3:1 rule. This guideline suggests that the mics should be placed 3 times further apart as the distance from the source. For this technique, we used a matched pair Audio-Technica 4050 with its polar pattern set to cardioid and placed 8 inches from the source and 20 inches apart. The two individual sources captured were panned left and right to increase the stereo width. The stereo image is produced by the off-axis attenuation of the cardioid microphone. But as the off-axis attenuation for a cardioid microphone is only 6 dB at 90 degrees, this technique is often used when high monocompatibility is needed. The Octava matched stereo pair was placed coincidentally at the vanilla position at a distance of 12 inches from the source. The sources captured were panned left and right. The stereo width obtained by the mid-side technique can be effectively experienced only once the source captured by the mid and side microphones are decoded. The track with the bidirectional microphone is copied and the phase is inverted on the copy. The two bidirectional tracks are then panned hard left and hard right while the cardioid mic is placed center. By adjusting the relative levels of the cardioid mic, we can control how close or how far the recorded instrument sounds. The width of the stereo image can be altered by changing the levels of the two bidirectional tracks. The Audio-Technica 4050 mic was used as the mid microphone with its polar pattern set to cardioid. The Soundtronic Saturn with its polar pattern set to figure of 8 was used to cover the sides. The entire arrangement was placed at a distance of 14 inches from the joint of the body and the bridge to capture the frequency spectrum of the guitar. This technique is an improvisation of the baffle stereo technique in which the head of the guitar player acts as the baffle. The Octava MK012 matched pair microphones with a cardioid polar pattern was used. Also, to capture the direct sound of the source, an Audio-Technica 4050 microphone with its polar pattern set to cardioid was placed at the vanilla position 15 inches from the source. It was observed from the experiments performed that each of the stereo recording techniques are unique with varying stereo images. These techniques should be used keeping in mind the requirements of the musical arrangement to obtain the desired sound.